Yokoso, yokoso, yokoso. Konbanwa, arigato gozaimasu. Welcome to the Stadia Monday Night Chat. Episode 103, people. I'm your host, Clive Illenden. Of course I am. What a week we have coming up. Yes, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's Stadia Pro week. Yes. So, of course, we're going to be talking all about the Stadia Pro titles coming out later this week, of course. Plus, there's been a ton of game rumours that, well, between you and me are, I'd say, nailed on certainties, really. You know, let's just say that. And, ladies and gentlemen, and just today, an absolute classic franchise is coming to Stadia. Official. All that, ladies and gentlemen, all that and much, much more, of course. But before all that, remember, ladies and gentlemen, hit the likes, subscribe, toggle that notification bell so you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know when I go live with the awesome Stadia Monday Night Chat, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, it has chat in the title. So that means you, ladies and gentlemen, you are part of the show if you are watching live. So join in the chat, partake in the poll, little Stadia Pro poll there. They only give you 4 options. And of course, you know, Stadia being generous of giving us 5 Stadia Pro titles. So I've put 2 of them together. You know, what are you going to do? Anyway, let me know what games you've been playing, of course, which of the Stadia Pro titles you are most looking forward to, and all of that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's delve into the darkness and greet those of you in the front row, ladies and gentlemen, and say hello to the early birds in chat to see how you all are. So I see straight away Mr. Bayram plays there. Thank you. New membership there. I say Cho Shokyu. Yeah, Cho Shokyu. So if you want to become a member, check out the join the members down there. But Mr. Bayram plays, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Right, who else we've got in the chat there? Just shout out. So after this show, get yourself over to, and now your mama knows. Oh, yeah. He's going to be streaming after this show. Welcome, and now your mama knows, to the live show. This is what happens when it's live. You're feeling the buzz, baby. You're feeling the buzz. Anyway, welcome. Raven Anime, always lovely to see you, sir. Denny, how are you? Don't worry, we will be hearing about Project Z or Z, you know, depending what side of the pond you're on, and all of that. Ray, oh, the smiling Ray, always there. Yokoso, Inled, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Mr. Ken, Mr. W. Wrong way around. Apologies. Jerry there, flashing his membership credentials with a little clown, Lord Kensal clown face there. Good to see you. Sednar, always listening. Super stuff. Of course, we've already mentioned Anthony there. Hey, hello, chat, says Twisted Barber. David, how are you doing, sir? Dave in the house, as ever. Again, also flexing the membership little icon there, clown face and all of that. Jerome, how are you, sir? Jerome's been playing Madden 22. You play a lot of Madden 22, Jerome, I believe. So good for you, sir. Konbanwa, Mr. Urban World, how are you? Genki desu ka? Yes, thank you. I am good. It is good. Okay. Finally joined the chat, Mr. Urban World. He has indeed. Yes. State Adventure. Hi. How are you doing, sir? Anyway, they're the early birds. Thank you all for being early birds and being in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, and all of that. Now, I've been playing a little bit Far Cry 6 earlier in the week, not as part of the lovely free weekend they've had, and a bit of Darkwood, catching up on this current month's Stadia Pro titles. So a little bit of Darkwood, which I found really kind of intriguing, Darkwood, as they don't really give you any clues, you know, and they specifically say this game's not going to give you any clues at the beginning. I quite like that. You just have to explore and discover things and work it all out. And, you know, you've got to get the balance right, I think, when you design a game like that. You want people to explore and feel satisfied and have that kind of big brain moment when they kind of work it out themselves. But at the same time, you don't want to make it too obscure that the game is going to get frustrated because of no idea how to get through to the next level or what they're meant to be doing, and they just give up on the game. And so it's a fine balance anyway. But it's a good little game, Darkwood. If you haven't checked it out, of course, it's one of the March Stadia Pro titles. Definitely check it out. Anyway, peeps, shall we get to the news, ladies and gentlemen? Shall we get to the news? A little bit different this week. We're going to hand over to Clive in the news studio. It'll all make sense, don't worry. We're going to hand over to Clive in the news studio for this week's Stadia Monday Night Chat news roundup. Okay, so it's going to be a Stadia Monday Night Chat news roundup. So, Clive, it's over to you. Here's the news. So last week, Stadia announced the Stadia Pro titles for April, and there are some really great games in there. Coming straight to Stadia Pro this week. Yes, finally. They said this title will be coming to Stadia this winter, inverted commas. And as we're just entering spring, here it is arriving as a Pro title, World War Z Aftermath. Although obviously in the UK, it's World War Z. World War Z Aftermath. As mentioned on last week's show, I hinted this may be coming as the game has just received a massive update with its cut and mend update. So perfect timing for a launch on Stadia. Obviously, in this game, you can join up to 3 friends or play on your own with AI teammates against hordes of ravenous zombies in immersive story episodes across new zombie-ravaged locations around the world. Next up, and originally expected to arrive in the middle of April, but catching many by surprise as a Stadia Pro title this week, I know, it's impressive, these Pro titles, is Deliver Us the Moon from Wired Productions. Again, as mentioned last week's show, both the developer and the publisher had hinted there may be a surprise or two this week. And as it turns out, Deliver Us the Moon as a Stadia Pro title is just one of those surprises. More on the other hinted surprise a little later. Watch this space. A sci-fi space thriller set in apocalyptic near future, Deliver Us the Moon is an out-of-this-world genre-busting narrative adventure. In the game, you'll assume the role of Earth's last astronaut on a do-or-die mission to save humanity, with a trusty robot, ASE, as your sole companion. And you'll use the greatest technology humankind has to offer, from new age spacesuits and cutting lasers to rockets and robot arms. Again, this is more signs from Wired Productions on them delivering on their promise to bring as much as their catalogue to Stadia as possible. This is turning out to be a good partnership for Stadia. Next up, we've got City Legends, The Curse of the Crimson Shadow Collector's Edition, which follows closely on the heels of Adam Wolf as another point-and-click puzzle adventure. Oh, I can hear the subreddit moans now. Not another mobile game, groan. Where's our AAAs? But don't sleep on this. If it is anything like Adam Wolf, these games are a great addition to Stadia, and you can get really sucked into the story and puzzle elements, and they just add to the variety of genres already on the platform. In City Legends, you delve into the history of the Order of Witches and you unravel its mysterious past in a chilling hidden object puzzle adventure. Also coming to Stadia Pro is East 9 Monstrum Nox, a much respected JRPG. If you need evidence of how much this game is respected, well, you should check out some of the Xbox forums moaning, why is it only coming to Stadia and not Xbox Games Pass? What are you going to do? This is a sequel to a previous Pro title, Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, which will be leaving Stadia Pro in April. Other titles leaving Stadia Pro are Moonlighter, DreamWorks' Spirit Lucky's Big Adventure, and Crater Premium Edition. Time for one of InLED's brilliant charts, I believe. So that's 52 Pro titles as of the 1st of April that you'll be able to claim. So slowly but surely, the Pro library for any newcomers is growing very much as predicted. But Stadia was not done with the game announcements, as Adventure Time Pirates of the Enchiridion was announced. In this game, which is voiced by the Adventure Time series cast, you'll sail the high seas as fan favourite characters, including Finn, Jake, BMO, Marceline, and all that. You upgrade your heroes, use potions, cast spells, and tap into ultimate hero abilities to battle bad guys in this fast-paced tactical combat. I think it's a turn-based combat game. And this weekend, of course, saw a free play weekend on Far Cry 6, which was meant for Stadia Pro members only, but I believe it ended up being free to everyone. Did you play it? Were you a Stadia Pro member or a non-member, and did you play it? Anyway, this is just in time for you to try the new Stranger Things update, where Yarans are disappearing, people say a mysterious creature is to blame, and no one was safe, not even Terrizio. Join brand new characters in a mind-bending trip into Yara's Upside Down, where nothing is what it seems. And the games, they keep on a-coming, although maybe not officially announced. It seems we have a raft of new potential games heading their way to Stadia. As mentioned, some of these are not official. But to be honest, they're as good as coming. One of them is Deliver Us Mars from Kyoken Interactive. Yes, Deliver Us Mars, the sequel to Deliver Us the Moon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, we know Wired Productions intend to bring, as I've said before, as many games as possible to Stadia, right? And secondly, we're just getting Deliver Us the Moon as a Stadia Pro title. Thirdly, the developer Kyoken is a big fan of Stadia anyway. So, Deliver Us Mars is set 10 years after Deliver Us the Moon and maintains the sci-fi puzzle adventure vibes of its predecessor, but promises a significant step forward when it comes to both narrative and gameplay. What is interesting about this sequel is it looks like it's going to be much more ambitious than Deliver Us the Moon, as Kyoken are teaming up with Frontier Foundry. Who are Frontier Foundry, Klein? I hear you say. Well, it's a UK developer founded by industry legend David Braben. If that name rings a bell, then you know this is quite significant. David Braben, in UK development terms, started working in games back in 1982 when he co-authored the seminal game Elite. If you check out their website, it states, Frontier's development strengths are immersive and fun gameplay design with unparalleled artistic quality, all underpinned and enabled by cutting-edge in-house technology and a talent for getting the best out of hardware and UI. So this could well be an exciting title to look forward to. Again, as a reminder, not officially announced for Stadia yet. There's still more to come from Wired Productions, and we're expecting more to be announced at PAX East. Could it be another prospective title that might come to Stadia? Watch this space, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this space. Exciting times. Told you it was a good partnership. Also, file under rumour, but as good as announced, come on, is Scarf from Uprising Studios. Now, this originally launched back in December, and it did have a Stadia logo attached to it, which was quickly and mysteriously removed. The fact that they'd gone to the effort of adding it to the marketing materials and all of that looked like it was more than just a mistake and had many people speculating. And at the time when asked, the developer said, or the publisher said, well, there were no plans for Stadia at the moment. You know, that's standard fobbing off language, isn't it? Well, that language and tone may have changed slightly now. Our good friend John Scarr asked the question last week on Twitter about whether Scarf would be coming to Stadia. Now, Uprising Games are being a little bit coy. But there is a definite glint in their eye when questioned. So, could we see Scarf finally announced soon for Stadia? Okay. One game definitely in the works for Stadia, partly thanks to the community, yay us, I would say, is Project Z. Now, Project Z is a free-to-play first-person shooter set in World War II, sort of a zombie scenario on a secret German base. The developers of this had a teaser trailer and were talking about a Kickstarter campaign. And it's been in development for some time. I've seen trailers and gameplays and sort of early sort of examples of this work on YouTube. You can check it out from 7 months, 8 months ago. A few eagle-eyed Stadians jumped on the case and asked if the developer had plans for a Stadia version. Now, the developer at the time sort of said no, but they'd look into it. Well, after further various queries from Stadians, etc., the result is that developer has been persuaded, ladies and gentlemen, has been persuaded by the efforts of the community. And they announced it in a tweet here. Cloud gaming such as Stadia and GeForce Now will be part of the Kickstarter campaign. So it's early days in development, but get yourself registered on that Kickstarter for this one as, hey, look, it worked for Sky Climbers, so let's get this one funded too. It's already got a kind of a lot of buzz around the sort of PC gamers and Steam kind of side of things. And now us in the cloud could potentially see this game. So certainly get yourself on that Kickstarter. All right then. All right. So now how about, ladies and gentlemen, how about an official announcement of a new game from the publishers themselves? So new publisher to the platform, Team 17, who are already bringing us Overcooked and Golf with Your Friends, and was one of the partners listed on the low-end porting pilot, have announced Worms WMD, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Oh, no, not another mobile game. So Worms is an older game, but the Worms franchise is a super popular franchise. And here the Worms are back in their most destructive game with gorgeous hand-drawn 2D look, brand new weapons, the introduction of crafting, vehicles, buildings, plus the return of much-loved classic weapons and gameplay. Worms WMD is the best Worms experienced ever. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the official and unofficial games coming to Stadia roundup, as it were. So let me know which of those games are exciting you and all of that. This has been the Stadia news for the Stadia Monday Night Chat. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Before you all go in the chat and say I'm muted, I know. Let me know, especially for those rumored games, which I think are fairly certain they're going to be coming to Stadia and all of that. Which of those have you got, you're most excited about? I mean, I think Deliver Us Mars. We haven't even played Deliver Us the Moon yet, but it looks like Deliver Us the Mars, from an ambition point of view, is looking to be bigger, greater, etc. And the fact that they're working, as I say, with Frontier Foundry on it. I mean, Dave Brabourne, as I said, is a sort of a legend within the UK development scene. It has been since he was, as I say, since the 80s. So it's interesting that they've teamed up with them to deliver Us Mars. So it's quite exciting, but we'll be able to see what Deliver Us to the Moon is like within the next few days if you're a Stadia Pro member. So certainly look out for that. And Worms, yeah, it's not it's not a AAA, Clive, is it? No, but it's wildly popular, has been for ages. It's an absolute classic, as Twisted Barber says here. Worms is a classic, but Lemmings is gold. I did think, so that's from Team 17. So I was expecting Five Nights at Freddy's. Remember when we looked at Team 17? Why don't we have a quick look? We'll go off. We'll go off script a bit. Let's have another look at Team 17. So originally, we assumed, so they talked about Marauders, which is a new game. I think it's only on PC coming. But if we look at some of the games that they've got here, let's have a look at their games. Oh yeah, Hell Let Loose would be good. That's on PlayStation, Xbox. So Hell Let Loose, a realistic multiplayer first-person shooter for PC and console there. That would be a nice one from Team 17. Honey, I joined a cult. Brilliant. But didn't they also, aren't I thinking of Five Nights at Freddy's with them? Am I thinking of somebody else? Anyway, they've got some good games. And so I wasn't necessarily expecting Worms, WMD, but definitely good to see Worms and other games coming from Team 17. As I said, they are part of the low-end porting pilot. So hopefully we're going to see more of their catalogue, and Worms is the first of hopefully what is, many. Let's hope that we do get this Hell Let Loose. That would be really cool in IMO, as they say, IMO. There we go. Stadia Adventure says the engine trailer of Deliver Us from Mars will broadcast at 4K 60 on YouTube. Yeah, so Frontier Foundry, specialize in sort of maximizing kind of power of the engine. They're kind of real technical developers. That's the history of the lead there, Dave Braben, has a history of that and sort of pushing the boundaries of what development tech can do. And so yeah, exciting stuff. Anyway, so as I say, let me know which of those games you're particularly excited about. As I say, that some of them, as I say, they aren't announced, but pretty certain that they're going to be coming by the looks of things, given the sort of the way the publishers have responded to questions and stuff like that. So anyway, but what I wanted to talk about, so we're coming to sort of special subject of the day, ladies and gentlemen, and it's Ubisoft, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about Ubisoft in particular. So Ubisoft, I reported on the Stadia News TLDR, your weekly short news burst, comes out midweek. If you don't watch it, your news in a nice short form for you. Anyway, I mentioned in last week's Stadia News TLDR that it had been rumored that Ubisoft is going to have a massive showcase of all their upcoming games over the next kind of couple of years or so. Now, we know that 99% of all Ubisoft games end up coming to Stadia in the first place. So this is really good news for us Stadians. But I thought what I'd like to do is, I'm popping. Thank you, Karen there. I thought what I'd like to do is look at the rumours of what's going to be announced based on this leak. So it is a leak from Ubisoft. So as I say, I'd like to find out and discuss what games from Ubisoft that are coming soon that we are particularly excited about. So if we have a look at the leak here, you'll see here, exclusive. Ubisoft planning massive games showcase with details and release dates. This is based on a leak. So it is a leak, it's rumored, it's not confirmed, but it's exciting to have a look, especially because we know that these games are going to be coming to Stadia more than likely. So here, according to several sources with direct knowledge of Ubisoft plans, we can report, this is xfire.com, we can report that a big games showcase event from the French publisher has been in the works for some time. To avoid game announcements being drowned out by the competition, the event was meant to go ahead before this year's rumoured E3. However, recent world events seemingly put those plans on hold. So we don't know whether the showcase is going to happen. It's not affecting the games. I mean, well, it may affect the games being made in... They've got a studio in Ukraine. But other than that, so it's a case of we don't know when the showcase will be. But anyway, according to this leak, ladies and gentlemen, according to the leak, we understand that a total of 20 games are lined up as part of this showcase, ready for some form of announcement in the near future, whether at the delayed event or otherwise. from brand new game reveals. So there's lots of games in here that we already know about and already hopefully excited about. And it's well worth reminding ourselves of the brilliant games and all of that. Whether at the delayed event, from the brand new reveals to development updates, release dates, and trailers. It's worth highlighting that you'll find the details of several previously unannounced Ubisoft games. Also, much like its peers these days, Ubisoft is no stranger to delaying games, especially when it comes to Ubisoft. There are games that are on this list that we're going to take a look at that have been in development hell, but yet, according to this leak, they're still working on them. One of those here is Skull and Bones. I remember seeing this ages ago, and I think it's basically building out on their Assassin's Creed Black Flag and some of the techniques, especially the kind of boat raiding and stuff like that, and then sort of mixing it with a kind of sort of Sea of Thieves type world. Now, for me, I mean, I'm a massive fan of Sea of Thieves, and before Stadia, I used to play it all the time. I used to stream it on Xbox and all of that, and I love Sea of Thieves. And yet, whilst I enjoy Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I didn't really feel like you feel like you're controlling. That makes sense. It feels like as a gamer, you're controlling the boat and firing cannons and stuff like that. Yeah. But in Sea of Thieves, it feels like you're controlling a player who is controlling the boat and having to raise the sail and steer and fire the cannon. And I really like that aspect of it, as opposed to feel like as a gamer, you're driving the boat around, if that makes sense. It's slightly different in Sea of Thieves because you're playing a character who does all the stuff that makes the boat work. Whereas I feel like in Black Flag, it just doesn't have the same vibe. I feel distanced from that experience slightly, and it just feels like you're just remotely driving a ship, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm not explaining myself very well. Anyway, hopefully they'll make the experience feel more immersive, put it that way, and that you're playing a pirate rather than playing a boat, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm playing a boat when I play Assassin's Creed Black Flag and get involved in a ship battle. Anyway, apparently Ubisoft have recently opened up applications for public testing of Skull and Bones, and CFO Frederic Duguay is very happy with its progress. So I think he may have mentioned it in the Ubisoft earnings announcement a couple of months ago. Skull and Bones has been no stranger to development troubles these past several years. I mean, it has been in the last trailer I saw, I think, was from 2018, E3 in 2018. The title will be a multiplayer first and focuses on ship combat with currently no combat on land. So this is the bit I'm sort of a bit dubious about. Anyway, the release date, anywhere between, quite a wide release date. They're saying basically any time between now and next year. Brilliant. But let me know, does Skull and Bones float your boat? Thank you. Does it float your boat? Are you excited about that? Now, one game we do know definitely is coming to Stadia because it was announced. We got a Stadia trailer for this, and all of that is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. And there was a great trailer that, as I say, a Stadia specific trailer, ladies and gentlemen. And Massive Entertainment, who are also, of course, working on a rumored Star Wars title for Ubisoft. Massive Entertainment, I believe. Massive Entertainment recently started sending out playtest invites to external QA, with these playtests beginning this week. While this likely indicates the game is on track for its scheduled release, we'll have no more details. So it was scheduled for release, as I understood it, at the end of the year. So, holiday season. That's what I had in my mind, I'm sure. So I'd probably expect it any time between holidays, if it stays on track, if development is on track, any time between holiday season, so the last quarter of the year, and March 2023. Division Heartland is another Ubisoft title we know is coming to Stadia. It was announced as a Stadia title. And according to those who played the game, it feels almost ready for release. And it's been suggested the free-to-play title could launch in the coming months. So I've heard this rumor as well. This is probably not far away, within the next few months. And it is likely to be the first of 3 free-to-play first-person shooter titles from Ubisoft. Now, this was... so we've known about some of those other games. We've known about those. What we didn't know about here, according to this leak, again, it's rumored and it's a leak, Immortals Phoenix Rising sequel. Of course, Immortals Phoenix famously had a Stadia exclusive demo before any other platform. Yeah, it had an exclusive level demo. So one level that you could do on Stadia. And that was announced at a big Stadia Connect. If you remember those days, Anyway, this is a much loved game on Stadia. And so the rumor is here that we've got a sequel coming. So that should be quite exciting. Ubisoft was apparently pleased with the performance of 2020's Immortal Phoenix Rising. And they've been informed, so the leakers, the source here, again, it's all a source, have informed Xfire here that a sequel is in development. Pre-production stage, so very early, so we probably won't be seeing this for, unknown, a long time. But good to know there's a sequel because it is a popular game on Stadia. Assassin's Creed Rift, first reported in February, aims to fill a thin near-term release schedule. According to Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, the title will not be a fully fledged Assassin's Creed title and is scheduled to release towards the end of 2022, so towards the end of the year. Our own sources suggest that the first half of 2023 is more likely, simply due to the intended release schedule of Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is the next big mainline title in the Assassin's Creed range. The title was initially intended as DLC, so it doesn't feel like it's like a full game, Assassin's Creed Rift. It feels like Ragnarok feels almost like a standalone game. So maybe it's of that scale. So then there's Assassin's Creed Infinity, revealed back in 2021. Ubisoft's most ambitious Assassin's Creed title to date. It will tie all the future Assassin's Creed titles together in a live service title and is being developed by several Ubisoft studios, including Montreal and Quebec. And Animus will reportedly play a huge role in this as a new hub. So presumably you can go to different periods via the hub, and then they could just keep adding content to those different periods. I don't know. Anyway, Ubisoft Montreal is still hiring for numerous online services. Maybe this could work in using their new Ubisoft's new sort of cloud tools. That would allow the game to have kind of massive scale. So maybe this is the first real use of that cloud technology that Ubisoft is working on, allowing them to create that kind of epic sized game that it means that you can go to different worlds and each world be as big as a standard Assassin's Creed world. Something you couldn't do in a downloadable Assassin's Creed game because it'd be too much data to download. But that could all be handled in the cloud. Who knows? Again, I was just speculating here, so we don't know. But it'd be interesting. I could see that happening if you think about the power of the cloud to be able to kind of host these different worlds that you seamlessly go between. Will be really cool. So Ghost Recon Frontline, again, another free-to-play game. It's closed access tests earlier this year with many details nonetheless surfacing online. The title received harsh criticism. Now, the reason it received harsh criticism, as I understand it, is because it's got Ghost Recon. And fans of Ghost Recon are passionate about it and hate the idea of it just being turned into another battle royale. But if you're a fan of battle royales, like I am, even though I'm not very good, I'm loving the concept personally. I don't really give, two monkeys about Ghost Recon as a franchise per se. I enjoy playing it, but I'm not passionate about it. And if they want to use that world to create a battle royale, well, good on them. I'm happy with that, mate. It's believed that Ghost Recon Frontline could be the furthest away from release out of the 3 first-person shooter titles. So remember, we've got the, what was it? Heartland, based on Division 2. Ghost Recon Frontline. And then the other one is X-Defiant. Now, of course, it's changed its name straight to X-Defiant. They've dropped the Tom Clancy brand for the same reason, I think, as I said about the Ghost Recon brand. I think, again, Tom Clancy fans got a bit ants that they were going to just turn it into some sort of team shooter like Apex or something and just use the Tom Clancy brand. So I think that's why Ubisoft, I'm speculating, I don't know for sure, of course. I think that's why Ubisoft have dropped the Tom Clancy brand. The other thing, by doing that, if they're confident enough in that brand, the X-Defiant brand is standalone, it means they're not held back by the law of Tom Clancy, if that makes sense, or having to stick to that kind of thing. And it means that they can expand. And if you look at the characters here, there's a real Apex Legends vibe. Good for me. I mean, if we're not going to get Apex Legends on Stadia, something like X-Defiant with its Apex Legends sort of vibe there. X-Defiant has seen significant changes since it was first revealed in August 2021. Mostly, as I said, dropping the Tom Clancy brand. It's currently in QA. And Ubisoft recently opened up applications for their new X-Defiant Insider Sessions. So did you apply for the Insider Session? It was available for Stadia as well. Stadia was an option for the insider tests. Let me know if you've managed to get in on the insider and have had a chance to play the game. Now, this is the third, as I mentioned, the third of the first-person shooter titles in development by Ubisoft that will be free to play. And it's headed by ex-Call of Duty executive producer Mark Rubin and has been developed in collaboration with several Call of Duty content creators. Seems like it's still a while away from release, possibly the end of 2022. So we're more likely to see Heartland this side of the summer, maybe, and then this game the other side of the summer, more likely towards Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So Prince of Persia: Sands of Remake. So what am I saying? Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. I love the original Prince of Persia. I remember playing it on the PlayStation 2. I really like the game. And you being able to reverse time and do it again. I really love that concept. That's what you could do. I seem to remember, wasn't it? You could reverse time and go back and try again. It was such a great game. And the sort of platforming element as well. Not much has been said about the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, but the game is still in active development, despite rumours and concerns to the contrary. The game is being overhauled following fan disappointment. So I think there was some early footage of it, and it is an old game, and you can sort of remaster to a certain degree, but without rebuilding the game from scratch. It's still going to, it's still held back by the fact that it was a PlayStation 2 game. So, yeah. Anyway, it looks like they've gone back to the drawing board on it. And this has been made out of Ubisoft Pune and Ubisoft Mumbai. So they obviously got the assets, and they're just hopefully redoing some of the assets, the graphical assets. Again, it's going to feel like some remakes are really good, and some are just held, as I say, are held back by the fact that they're legacy titles. So it's always an issue. But ladies and gentlemen, look at this. A second Prince of Persia title is reportedly in the works at Ubisoft, with Ubisoft Montpellier being involved in the project. The game was described as taking inspiration from Ori and will be a 2.5D game. So not a full-blown 3D experience, a sort of side-scrolling but with depth type game. I'm not sure. I'd rather a brand new Prince of Persia personally, like a proper 3D Prince of Persia. But that'll be interesting. We'll see what they do. Unknown. Crew 3, Project Orlando. The next title for The Crew was leaked last year as assumed DLC for Crew 2. Currently codenamed Project Orlando, be a brand new game featuring a new driving engine and other overhauls. This is from Ubisoft Ivory Tower. Again, release date unknown. Mario & Rabbids, we're not going to see that on Stadia. Sorry. So we'll move over there. Now, Roller Champions is sort of Ubisoft's attempt at a kind of Rocket League style thing. And I remember seeing the game footage for this a while ago, and it looked kind of really cool. It's still not been given a release date, so I thought it'd gone away. I thought it'd really gone into development hell, along with things like Beyond Good and Evil, which were coming, and Skull and Bones. But Roller Champions is apparently ready for launch. Let's have a look. We can find... let's just get... yeah, so they're obviously going for a real kind of Rocket League vibe here, with different characters and stuff, and obviously team play, judging by the kind of name tags above the head and stuff like that. And you skate around, get the ball, like Rollerball, the movie. Those of us of a certain age remember Rollerball with James Caan, I believe it had in it. An ability to skate up the walls there. And then when you sort of, you get your ball, as it were, you kind of fire it into a slot at the top. That sounds... stop with the innuendos and all of that. Anyway, Rollerball, Rocket League type game, really, and a team-based game. That could be something really cool to come to the platform. So I think that'd be a real great addition to Stadia. Stadia's lacking that kind of Rocket League style game. So shout out to Ubisoft if they can bring that. Well, according to this leak, as I say, Roller Champions is already ready for launch. And the quiet delay could have been a result of pushing the entire planned Ubisoft event back. However, that is speculation. So I'm speculating on the speculation. It's anticipated the game will release in the coming months, and we should hear more about it shortly. So maybe between now and E3, maybe at E3, it will get announced, or around the time, because I know different publishers will be doing different presentations in and around E3 in June. So maybe between now and June. Beyond Good and Evil 2, ladies and gentlemen, again, massive fan of Beyond Good and Evil. Used to go around taking the photographs of the weird animals and stuff like that. Very different vibe the trailer had. And again, I saw this trailer, again, I reckon back in 2018, if not earlier. And then it sort of seemed to disappear. So I think it's been through a lot of problems, been in sort of development hell and all of that. The title has suffered many problems these past couple of years, with some comments from developers to the source here, Xfire, suggesting the game could be canned. That's what I thought. I thought they canned it. But it appears Beyond Good and Evil 2 now lies in the Ubisoft category of, we've spent too much money and we can't give up now. But I'm not convinced, because this one does really seem lost in the depths of development hell. So should we sort of say nice to have, but unlikely? What we do know, though, is coming, because they announced it. They leaked it. Well, they didn't leak it. They announced it. Ubisoft revealed it. Again, I hate to go on about it, but Splinter Cell on Xbox OG, on the original Xbox. I love Splinter Cell. Again, a stealthy game, a stealth game. Really cool. I like those sort of games, a stealth platforming type game. Anyway, the Splinter Cell remake is still in very early production. And although it probably won't release, whoop, whoop. Thank you, Simpleton, for the subscription there. Really much appreciated, sir. Splinter Cell remake is still in very early production, although probably won't release until 2024 at the earliest. Wow. Like, that is miles away. But we do know that they've announced they will be delivering a Splinter Cell remake. So, because they did a little teaser. Yeah, a little teaser for it. So we know that's not a rumor. And then the rest are kind of mobile games and stuff like that are coming. So again, this is speculation. Xfire have had other stuff leaked to them, and it's been fairly good sources and stuff like that. So some of the things Xfire have kind of reported on as leaks and stuff like that generally have come to fruition. So it'll be interesting to see, ladies and gentlemen. But it does go to show what a really valuable relationship the Ubisoft Stadia relationship is. And I was thinking about this, and let me know, thinking on this from a speculation point of view. It's clear, you know, Stadia is not going to get all the massive E3, all the massive AAA games. We know that, and if you don't know that, wake up and smell the coffee, right? That is the reality, okay? And I've speculated about this, the reason before. It's not a case of just Stadia throwing money at it. When Stadia launched, they needed big games on the platform. And it was an untested platform in an untested market. So those two things balanced off. The need to get the big games to sort of give the platform credibility, a launching platform credibility. Yeah. And the fact that it was unknown and untried meant that Stadia had to go out before Stadia was launched and do massive deals with Ubisoft to convince them, they work with to get Bethesda on Doom and use Doom 2016 as a sort of a test case of how latency and lag was not an issue, because a really fast first-person shooter game like Doom 2016 could work. And they used that to demo, before they launched Stadia. And of course, Doom Eternal came to Stadia and stuff like that. They did a 5-game deal with EA, including, 2 lots of FIFA, 2 lots of Madden, and the Star Wars game. They did a big deal with Capcom, one of those games that we still think is still to come, with Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8. And as I said, with still a game to come. And they did a deal with Take-Two and stuff to secure some titles, especially, big titles like Red Dead Redemption. And we know Stadia would have to have paid money to those big publishers to get them out of bed. If you're an accountant or if you're an investment analyst at those publishers, big publishers, yeah, you're going to do your maths and calculations, and you're going to have a threshold in which a game has to earn a certain amount of money, or the return on investment prediction has to be at a certain level before you even get out of bed. And for big publishers with big games, that's going to be quite high. So the advances that Stadia would have had to pay in the beginning just to get those games would have been quite high. And that would have been worth it. That would have been lost leaders almost, to get those games on a launching platform. But you can't sustain the business model on that basis. Keep throwing money over and above what they're likely to earn back, in advances. That's, you have to get to a point where the big AAA publishers want to get out of bed and put their game on your platform. And we've talked about how cloud gaming is a 2% business, and Stadia is still not at that level, where for a big AAA, they definitely know they're going to get money. So with that in mind, you're not going to get all the AAA games of the year. But then again, ask yourself, how many genuine multi-platform, yeah, AAA games are released every year, right? I'm not talking about old AAA. I'm talking about new AAA games released every year. Multi-platform, not exclusive to Xbox, not exclusive to PlayStation. Discount all of those. Take those away from the equation, yeah? Factor in that some of those AAA games in that probably not massive list. I think people have a sort of misconception how many, how many genuine AAA games there are, how many big tentpole games, blockbuster games there are each year, multi-platform. Factor in that some of those games are going to be Ubisoft games. So they are going to come. So you are getting AAA games. It doesn't matter that but it's only Ubisoft. Of course they're coming. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's Ubisoft. If they're AAA games, they're AAA games. If they happen to come from Ubisoft, well done for Stadia for building that relationship with Ubisoft. Okay. So now you've got that limited number of AAA games. You've taken out all the ones that aren't multi-platform. Yeah. It's getting smaller. You add in the fact that some of those are Ubisoft games anyway. Yeah. And now that list is getting even smaller, the ones that are left. So for for Stadia, from my point of view, all they need to do is concentrate. If they are going to spend money, concentrate on maybe one or two additional big blockbuster games. And when I'm talking about big blockbuster, what I'm talking about is maybe a game from Capcom. We are rumored that there is another game from Capcom anyway. Monster Hunter, don't know. But I would concentrate on FIFA and Madden. If Stadia bring FIFA, Madden, one massive Capcom game, and all the Ubisoft AAA games, that's a reasonable percentage of the overall genuine AAA games that are going to get released this year. And so on the basis that Stadia aren't going to get many AAA games, actually, of the genuine AAA games released this year, they'll get a majority of them, half maybe, once you've discounted exclusive titles and, things that aren't multi-platform and things like that. So I think from Stadia's point of view is they should continue building relationships as they are with indies and other publishers who continue to bring games. You can't just dismiss indie games because indie games, people often complained about indie games that went viral that aren't on Stadia. Yeah, Among Us. Where's Among Us? That wasn't a AAA game. And other similar games like that. But they started as indie games. And you've got publishers like Wired Productions who have aspirations to be a AAA game maker and stuff like that. So for those level publishers, the kind of return on investment is enough for them to get out of bed. Yeah. A few $100,000, tens of thousands of, dollars or whatever isn't a profit, and your investment analysis is enough to get out of bed. For a big publisher like EA or Take-Two, whatever, unless it's going to make you $1 million, yeah, from the get-go, you're not interested. Yeah, so Stadia need to get to a stage where they are interested, but until that time, Stadia can laser target a couple of key big titles that aren't Ubisoft titles, just to add to those sort of AAA games throughout the year. And I think you'll find, actually, when you look at, as I say, you look at all the massive AAA games, genuine AAA games, you discount and you just base it on multi-platform games. Yeah, add in maybe if FIFA and Madden come, add in a Capcom game, add in 2 or 3 of the Ubisoft games. It's a nice little handful, So it's just interesting to think about. Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, it's some theories that I have and some sort of viewpoint and stuff like that. And also let me know what you think about the Ubisoft games that we've gone through there. I mean, some exciting games. Should we go to chat, ladies and gentlemen, see what you've been chatting about over in the chat. Right. Talking about Lemming, yeah. So talking about Worms, Lemmings, God. On the BBC Acorn, lol. Oh my God, random noob showing your age. Brilliant. BBC, yeah. The BBC computer. I remember that. Well, they did say, Jinx, didn't they, that last year Stadia mentioned that they, in a blog post, I believe it was, or a Reddit post, that they weren't just looking at bringing they would be bringing 100 plus games, whatever, to Stadia in 2022, but they were looking to expand the variety of the games. And we're already seeing that when you get the stuff like Adam Wolf and City Legends, and then Worms, WMD, and then you've got Lake, and what was that other kind of cute cat cafe game, whatever it was. You're getting a real variety of games, and the kids game. Whoa, Anthony, thank you, sir, for that. Much appreciated. Honey, I Shrink the Kids. Oh, the Acorn, yes. Thank you, Gago. Hey, Petter, how you doing? I hope you are having a good day and you're feeling good, Petter. I hope things are good for you today, Petter. I hope things are looking up. Victor, how are you, sir? Good to see you. I thought the next AC was Infinity. No. Whether that, as I say, Infinity Rift is actually some sort of DLC or an actual standalone game, it's unclear. David Wilson's most anticipated game there. Simpleton, how are you? Peace, bro. Yeah, I loved it, David Wilson. I love Splinter Cell. It was such a cool game. I played it on the Xbox. I think it was an Xbox exclusive. The original Xbox. I think it was exclusive. I had all the consoles back in the day. That was when I worked in the games industry for those. Have I mentioned that before? That gave me an excuse to have all the consoles. Not that many of us need an excuse to buy every console, but I don't have every console now. But back in the day, it was my job. It was my job to have every console because, I was in the games industry. So, of course, it was my job. Netflix doesn't have all the top blockbuster movies, but they continue to put out quality. Yeah. And, in fairness, it took them a while to, they invest heavily in original content. But it took them at least 3-4 years before their big first original content. There was one other title, but the first big one was House of Cards, which was a flagship original content from Netflix. But Netflix as a streaming service had been in existence for maybe 3-4 years before that came to fruition. And they were reliant on the odd blockbuster here that they get their hands on until it grew to such a state where they could, invest in original content because it was probably costing them as much. And they had a lot of the Marvel ones before Disney decided, subscription service, that sounds good. We've got lots of content. We'll have those Marvel titles back once the licenses have ended. Thank you, Netflix. So, yeah, they had a few of the Marvel things like that. So, yeah, it's about targeting a few key titles. I think of the big ones and just building those relationships. If Take-Two, as we know their CEO is not particularly hot on cloud gaming and stuff like that, or even though they're going to start doing their own subscription service, not necessarily cloud, but it could be, then, well, F them. Let's concentrate on EA or Capcom or Sega and bring some of their big games. Informs, educate, and entertain. Exactly. That's our byword, Anthony. Yeah, and I think you will see maybe there'll be a mix of the older titles. Again, if we look at if part of the investment analysis question is how much, how much work is this going to cost us? Because work is money, time is money. And if the porting process improves at the rate, you think about how the porting process from when Stadia launched, and this is based on hearsay from developers and publishers, from when Stadia launched to now, to where it's going with the kind of running Windows games that was talked about at this Google for Games developer conference, which is, I think, the next step. So we've got the low end porting, and then the next step is kind of running Windows games without any kind of change, sort of thing. That's the R&D aspect of it, of the porting. If you think how far they've come, they're only going to improve that process. So then that investment analysis becomes less of an issue. There's less time and money required to get your game on Stadia, and therefore you don't need as many sales to make back that investment that you've made. So there we go. I enjoy these titles coming to Stadia, Pro or not. Feels like some kind of curated. Well, Stadia are very good at curating titles. I don't think they just throw anything at it. I think they, first of all, they've got to form relationships with publishers. You look at the relationships they're forming with Team 17 or Wired Productions, and then look at their catalogue. And obviously, those companies are going to want to probably bring their most successful titles to Stadia first. And so in a way, it curates itself in terms of quality of these new middle range publishers. We're going to get the best of what they do rather than everything they do. Yeah. So I think we benefit from that, and it makes it feel like we're getting curated titles. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm mad on Korean. I'm wearing my Korean t-shirt today. Lord Kensal in Korean. Yeah. I'm loving the, I haven't watched for a while. My partner is obsessed with some Korean romance she wants me to watch. But I have been enjoying a lot of the recent Korean films based on original manga titles, both Korean manga and is there a Korean manga? Does it have an alternative name? And Japanese manga titles. Yeah. Really good. Scrolled up. Okay. Oh, I didn't talk about the tech. Wow. Thank you, Marcus, for correcting me. I think it's either low change porting or low end porting. I always get them muddled up. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you. I've just upgraded my cool points by 1,000. Well, much appreciated. Where do I collect them? And all of that. Anyway, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was the show. Some exciting things. I just want to share one thing. So I talked about Wired Productions. And they've still got stuff to announce. Oh, look, chat's up there on the screen at last. So we've still got stuff to come, and they're going to be announcing things at PAX East, which I believe is in April here. Let me go big on this for you. Wired Productions, things we're looking forward to. So this week, ladies and gentlemen, right? Things we're looking forward to this week. New Wired Live series. So that's their podcast. The publisher, they do a podcast. Sending Stadians to the Moon. Obviously, Deliver Us the Moon is coming out end of the week. Picking winners for their WSD comp. They have nice little competitions. And here, couple of announcements we can't talk about yet. So on the basis that they're all in on Stadia at the moment, Wired Productions, are these announcements this week? Because it says things we're looking forward to this week. Are we likely to see some more announcements from Wired Productions? Could they be brand new announcements? Could they be Wired Productions confirming what I've speculated about today in terms of Wired Productions games? So keep your ears and eyes peeled for further announcements from Wired Productions. And I believe there's also going to be some announcements. They've got a stand at PAX East, which is out in April. there are going to be some announcements there as well from Wired Productions. So there you go. I just thought I'd share that. Right. We done, ladies and gentlemen. And look, I am done. Thank you for joining me in chat. Really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you're excited about all the games that are rumored. They're coming. Trust me. And that's just this week. Plus the announcement of Worms WMD, which is official. Plus all the speculation about the massive Ubisoft showcase announcement. That will be awesome for Stadia. If they ever do that showcase, it's going to be a great day for us Stadians and all of that. Thank you for watching. Really, really appreciate you spending your time with me live. And if you're watching after the show, watching it not live, that's great. That's cool as well. Really, really appreciate it. Don't forget, of course, to hit subscribe, toggle that notification bell, hit the likes, all of that, so you know when I go live with amazing content like this. That's me done. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you get yourself over to And Now Your Mama Knows channel and see what Anthony's got to say. Always entertaining is our Anthony. Always worth a little visit to his channel. He's the king of content, as he likes to say. He is in terms of doing a lot of content. I'll give him that. So check that out. Why don't we do this all again, same time, same place next week. See you around very, very soon. Thank you.